All right, guys. So, as promised, I told you be aware of large expenditures and purchases. Hi, my name is Nicholas Falcone. I have been covertly recorded with the computer system since the late 80s, early 90s. My life is recorded and saved on a supercomputer's hard drive somewhere out there in the simulation. Um, Throughout the course of my videos that I have on here, I have been able to explain to you in scientific and non-scientific phrases, words, and methods how the simulation works, the difference between overt and covert, the difference between simulation and radiation. I'm going to take this down because this is pointless to this video, but that is my just try. While I'm alive still, I'm going to try and be the best, most positive person I can be until, unfortunately, the radiation that is utilized through the simulation and the functionality, all of the electronic functionality of the invisible wireless quasi-cellular phone energy that enters my anatomy on an almost daily basis, nightly basis as well, ends up shortening my life through whatever means it can be utilized, whether it's breakdown of musculoskeletal tissue, whether it's joints breaking down, whether it's bone becoming soft and mush, whether it's your brain and the functionality of your brain deteriorating, whether you get some sort of neurodegeneration going on, whether you get ocular degeneration going on, whether you get, for me, potentially the highest probability is going to be probably something to do with my neck and my throat. But also, it's not uncommon for sex organ cancer. As you look in my videos, you'll see I do a sexual desocialization video. That's another form of sexual desocialization, is to target the sex organs of targeted individuals, whether covert or overt, whether you know about it or don't know about it. That's the sad part, is that a lot of people out there will never know that they got cancer, but the cancer came from a computer system. They will just go, oh, honey, whatever, by yourself, with your wife, with your husband, whatever. You're just going to go, oh, I got cancer. And they have no idea that there's potential, a huge potential, that your cancer came from an invisible cellular technology like computer system shooting cellular-like energy, invisible cell phone energy into your body to give you cancer, to break down your heart, to strain your internal organs, to end your life prematurely for no other reason other than nothing better to do. So my name is Nicholas Falcone. In 2006, I felt the directed energy on my scalp for the first time. And it went away for a little while. There was other things that went along with that, but again, it came back in 2015, 2016, in that area. It came back overtly this time, and it was in coordination with the V2K, with the voice to skull. I heard the chatterbot for the first time laying in bed, looking at my TV and going, what is that? Not, I'm hearing voices, nothing like that. Just going, like most common sense people go, what is that? What is that? I kept saying, what is that? So that's my background and how I have this ability to speak to you about this now. And I've documented here on the left side of my board the radiation phases to your cancer and or your death. So this is the radiation phases that will also deteriorate your internal organs, your bone, all of that kind of stuff too. But this is typically the walk to death protocol radiation phases that will have you proliferate cancer in certain areas of your anatomy that are targeted with the entire run of phases in the radiation phases of the program. And if you look at my other videos, I already have a video up about radiation phases and what that means and how they implement that, so that way most targets go, oh, I'm fine, go out to work. I'm fine, go out to work. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit in this video here with be aware of large expenditures and purchases. That correlates and goes along with Sorry, I got a bunch of bug bites on my leg from riding my bike last night. Like I said, just because you're being put to a premature death with directed energy does not mean you shouldn't try to live the best life you've ever lived. You still have to live your life. Um, just because you're going to die prematurely, and you know that, obviously, with your burnt red bloodshot eyes, with your pain in differentiated spots on your anatomy, doesn't mean that you should stop living your life. You have to live your life. You have to put out the most positive energy possible to give people hope and put a smile on people's faces. And that's what I try to do on a daily basis. In the face of insurmountable odds, I try to give happiness and positivity to anybody that I interact with. But as you'll find out, and if you are a true target, you'll see it's tough some days, man. It really is, because you feel like you have insurmountable odds, and you do. And that's just the bottom line to it. So, with that being said, voice to skull, all that kind of stuff. I have all the whole gambit of the protocols and operations running for me. So now, let's talk about be aware of large expenditures. So when I first heard that, I heard that on YouTube, actually. So I was searching in the early days. I was like, this is odd. I'm going to close this real quick so that way I cut down on the background noise, because it's actually, sorry. So when I heard that, or when I read that, it was here on YouTube. I was on YouTube and I was surfing around looking for videos and searching for V2K, searching for Havana syndrome and all that kind of stuff. And a video popped up that all it was just somebody had typed up something to this effect, where it was like, be aware of large expenditures and purchases. And that's all it was. That is all it was. It was just that. It was just a typed up wording, nothing else. Nobody saying anything, nobody doing anything. So what it is like, okay, so for example, I told you about the accidents in my last video. You got to be aware of accidents. How they ridded my dad of possession of this house was they got him into a car accident where he hit a motorcyclist, and then they got him to piss away his money. But one of the big things I want to talk about here is that you'll be made to purchase things that have no residual value. You won't even know what you bought, why you bought it, and then only if somebody around you is a target as well. Like I told my dad bought a car. He bought a Chevelle Super Sport. Doesn't matter what year. It's a muscle car from back in the day. I remember when I was a little bit younger, he said, "Oh, hey, Nicholas, I bought a race car," he said, out of left field. So the computer beamed into his head, go tell your son you bought a race car, so it could get a reaction out of me to see what my reaction would be to that catalyst. So that is a catalyst phrase or wording that the computer wanted to see what the reaction from me would be if my dad said something odd like, "I bought a race car." My dad is not the buy a race car type. He's never picked up a wrench. I have an assortment of tools there. I work in this garage on my car. I change my oil. I'm the guy that would buy a race car. My dad had Volkswagen Beetles back in the day. If you look up a Volkswagen Beetle, you'll see what a Volkswagen Beetle is. So I had that back. My dad had those back in the day. He was a Volkswagen Beetle type of nerdy guy. He's not a Chevelle Super Sport guy that has 400 horsepower, big block Chevy. Nothing. So what the computer did was it made him take whatever money he had, or he got some from my grandpa, and he got some checks from my grandfather's money. Let me put this down here real quick, because we're going to start subtracting from $1 million. Grandpa, $1 million. My grandfather was a millionaire. He had over $1 million in assets at one point. I physically saw that. I'm like, holy shit, that's a lot of money. So we'll get to that in a minute, but there we go. $1 million my grandfather had. He built this house, built the house next door. All right. So my dad bought this Chevelle Super Sport, and these aren't in any timeline order. And I was like, that's odd. What the fuck? He bought a race car. What the fuck kind of race car? Didn't see a car for years and years. I mean, years. I didn't see a car. And finally, one day, after all of these years go by, boom, all these years go by, and all of a sudden, there's a car in the driveway, and it's under it's under a car cover, and I go to look at it, and I'm like, holy fuck! It was a completely the paint on the body was brand new. It had racing stripes, baller paint job, and had the rally rims on it, and the original paint was on the motor. This was a numbers matching original one owner car from a person in Texas, and it was completely decked out from the dealership in the 70s. And my dad is not a go to a car show guy, sit there, chop it up with the muscle head guy, the muscle car guys talking about, oh, what kind of carburetor did you have? Oh, how did you set the points on the carburetor? Did you have it running rich? Type of thing. Oh, what type of head gasket did you use? My dad doesn't know what the fuck a head gasket is. He doesn't know nothing about cars. He's never changed an oil. Maybe he did years ago on the Rabbit, but he's never done shit to a car that would warrant him buying a one-owner Chevelle Super Sport from a lady in Texas and having it shipped out here. He never drove it, never took it anywhere. Matter of fact, I had to back it into this garage when it needed to be in the garage with the cover on it. Nobody else could back it into the goddamn garage. So I got in the driver's seat and backed a 300 or 400 horsepower car into the garage because he couldn't even back it into the garage. He didn't even know how to back cars up. I had to back his truck up one time to pick something up at a loading dock. So I bought a race car, and I'm like, what the fuck? So that shows you people around you, just because you're a target and you know what's going on, doesn't mean that people around you who are also targets actually know what's going on. They don't know that they're a simulation, that they're a simulant in a computer system. They don't know that they're being manipulated to piss away money. So he ended up selling that car. Another example for my dad was my grandmother's sister had passed away, and she left him and she didn't have any kids. So she left him and all of her nieces and nephews $25,000 each, right? So what do you think my dad did with that? Do you think he put it away? He saved it? He put it, hey, I'm going to save that. I'm going to invest it. My dad already had a car. This was years ago when I was young. I was real young. And, I'm 43 now. So this was, oh God, I may have been in my teens. At the oldest, I was in my teens. 13, something like that. So Aunt Lena gave him $25,000, and he again bought a pointless Mercedes for his second or third car. I can't remember. He didn't need the car. He bought this dumb fucking Mercedes, spent all of the $25,000, wiped it all away with this dumb, stupid, used Mercedes car that sat in the driveway. And he didn't even drive the fucking thing. It just sat there. It was some old, dusty Mercedes, big-ass boat car with the stupid windshield wipers on the headlights, like just some stupid fucking car. And pissed away all $25,000. All of it was gone in one dumb purchase. And then he drove it around, he ended up selling it or whatever he did with it, and it was gone. And then he ends up, this is just stuff with my dad. Then he ends up buying, as the computer so nicely tells me, he's by himself. He doesn't have anybody. He's not married, doesn't have a girlfriend, never did, never will. Doesn't have any groceries that he buys where he would even need a Jeep Cherokee. Brand new. Brand new Jeep Cherokee, loaded. I mean, it may have been a limited, I'm not sure. But it was like $40,000+. So it was $40,000+. That was after the accident. If you look at the previous video that I have posted, I posted about the accidents. Go watch that. And the back end of that video, I'm sorry, got cut off, and I haven't posted the 8-minute part of that yet. But that got cut off at the end. But after he was made to get into the car accident with the motorcyclist, he had a Toyota Tacoma pickup truck with like 300,000 miles on it, which is like, okay, that makes sense. You don't have anybody, doesn't matter what kind of car you drive, you should be driving the cheapest piece of shit you can find. No, the computer made him get a brand new Jeep Cherokee, maybe a limited, but I checked at the dealership and it was $40,000+ for that vehicle. And I'm thinking, he doesn't have any money, he's on a fixed income, he has no money. How is he paying for this? Like, I can't imagine what the car payments are. I have a $599 car payment for my car, and I can barely make the payment. So sure enough, after quite a few months of him driving around pointlessly with a Jeep Cherokee, leather interior, baller vehicle, he ends up going, I can't afford that. No shit. Computer made him buy that, made him get the, take that car and drive it around. So you fucked it up for a little while. So when you went to trade it in, he didn't even get the value for it because he put all this mileage on it. And then he had to trade it in as used if he wasn't just leasing it, which I doubt he was. He was purchasing the fucking thing, making payments on it, going into debt. So into debt. That's what you're going into. You're going into debt. See all this here? Chevelle Super Sport. Loss. He lost money on that probably he probably sold it for less than he bought it for, and then he put fucking money into it. So that's a loss. You're in debt. You didn't make money. Oh, I need money. I got to sell the car. So I need money. I got to liquidate something. So this stupid fucking purchase here that he should have never fucking bought, he lost money on. No shit. No shit. But he doesn't know this. So I try not to get upset with him. He's got cancer from this system. He's going to die at some point soon. So I try not to get upset with him. This Aunt Lena thing. I didn't notice this until I figured all this dumb fucking bullshit simulation neural monitoring computer system shit out. I'm like, holy fuck. That's right. Aunt Lena gave him $25,000 fucking dollars, and he came up with this new car with the money. So as soon as you get an allotment of money, or you get some sort of something like that, lump sum of cash, or in this case, my grandpa had $1 million at one point that is now zero. And like I said, I'll get to that in a second. Let me throw this fucking marker out. I'll get to that in a second. It's now $0. It just became $0. So it only took about 20 years, 20 to 30 years to piss away $1 million. And I'll show you exactly all of it. Well, as much as I can show you, because my dad pissed away most of it. All right, so the Aunt Lena thing, I was like, oh my God, that's right. He bought that dumb fucking Mercedes he didn't need. It was like the second or third car. Who the hell's sitting on 3 cars? So your idea to get a second or third car was to buy this dumb, stupid, big-ass boat, dumb fucking Mercedes that you had no use for. Cornball. Like, he wasn't even picking chicks up in the thing. So that was the waste of $25,000. The Chevelle he ended up selling, never drove it, never took it to a car show, never used it like you should. The only people that should be buying a Chevelle Super Sport, one owner, baller ass car, are dudes that wrench on cars, dudes that used to have a car like that when they were in high school, like you're reliving the glory years, guys that wrench on cars, like I said, or dudes that are trying to pick chicks up. Like, and you're trying to roll up to the car show, and you're like, bah, 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 bah. Whoa, 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 whoa. And you get the, 50, 60-year-old women coming up going, woo, oh man, we're the car show bitches. And then you're trying to lay some pipe on the car show chicks. That's not my dad. My dad's not lay the pipe on the car show chicks. My dad is not the chop it up about the carburetor, the flow master, what type of rally wheels do you have? Do you know what color paint that is? Are you familiar with the this and the that? That is not my dad. My dad is not that type of dude. He's not even the type of dude to walk around a car show. So I knew that was stupid to begin with. I didn't know about the computer system at that point in time, but I knew there was something weird about that. So that was a loss. This was a loss. Pointless, waste of fucking money. Could have turned that 25,000 into something else. But as soon as he got that, the computer was like, Tony, buy a car, 25,000. Don't keep any of that money for yourself and do something with it. So he did. He bought the dumb Mercedes. Then, by this time, I know about the system. So at this point, when he buys this fucking stupid Jeep Cherokee after he crashes into the motorcyclist, that truck that he had wasn't worth dick. Nothing. So he got probably nothing to like a couple of $1,000s for that Tacoma. So this was all him from zero, basically from $0. He went there and they gave him a car. So he probably, who knows, he may have fucking gotten me to sign off on a check, or he may have gotten a check for my grandfather's money here. Because all he had to do before I made it a little bit harder for him to do it, because the computer had him continuously getting checks for my grandfather's money. So all you had to do if you wanted to get a check from his money was call up his financial guy and go, hey, Jim, or John, hey, John, from Janney Montgomery Scott, hey, John, I need a check. And they go, oh, okay. He would go, how much? Because my grandfather was in his 90s at this point when the targeting really ramped up and really went overt. He was in his early 90s. So all my dad had to do was go, hey, John, I need a check. So my dad probably got a check, had my grandfather sign it or not, and then went and put a down payment probably on this dumb fucking Jeep Cherokee, because they're not just going to let you roll with zero down. My dad has no credit. His credit's shot. He never had any money. So you go into debt. Or if you have grandpa money, you go take that debt and you wash it away with grandpa money, but then grandpa money starts to disappear. So instead of $1 million, you start getting down to 800,000, 500,000. And then you go, holy shit, how do you piss away $1 million? Who the fuck knows? When you have 20 or 30 years of bullshit, can I get a check? Can I get a check? Can I get this? Can I get that? How about this? How about that? My grandfather bought me a car, 25,000 there. My grandfather bought me another car, another 30,000 there. So there's 55,000 in of itself in two vehicles. My grandfather gave me $200,000 almost when I didn't go to college. He got almost $200,000 back and gave it to me. It was $180,000 and said, here, grandson, here's $180,000 for nothing. So again, I just say the computer probably made him do that. So $180,000 out of that, and you start seeing where that's going. So 20 to 30 years it took to piss away all of it. And it just went to zero the other day. Because with that car accident, so there's all of this. This is just 3 cars. That's just cars. That doesn't account for gambling. My dad doesn't do drugs. He doesn't drink alcohol. So let's erase this real quick. God damn it. Shit's hard to get up. So my dad doesn't do drugs or drink alcohol, but another one of your big expenditures is going to be alcohol, drugs, and gambling. So you have to be aware of that. It's not only to destroy your life, it's to destroy your bank account, because the computer does not want you to buy things that have residual value. I mean, yeah, it's hilarious if you buy cars that seemingly have residual value, but So drugs, alcohol, gambling. There's three expenditures right there. Drugs and alcohol ruin your body. Gambling ruins your bank account and ruins your life. So it will continuously have you go scratch the tickets off. Hey, go scratch the tickets off. You're gonna scratch tickets. So you get the scratch off tickets. Ooh, I'm scratching tickets off. What happens then? You don't have any money. You don't win. You never get ahead in those things. What's the odds that the computer is going to make you go scratch the tickets off and you're going to win the $1 million? Slim to none. That's why it has you do it, because it knows that the odds are overwhelmingly against you that you'll actually be profitable in your endeavor. So scratch off tickets, casino, and drug addiction. So drug/alcohol addiction, that is all negative money. That's right, negative money. Now you could say, Nick, the gambling could pay off. Yeah, but the computer's going with the percentage of probability. See, probability and statistics. It's only going with the highest percentage of probability. The probability is that the casino wins, and you're not going to get up and leave when you're up $20 on your $100. You're going to stay and try and win $1 million on your $100 and piss it all away. So that's just three examples from my dad. I'm trying to think about good examples for me. You know, for me, I pissed a lot of my money away on pills because I had 2 spine surgeries. I had 2 spinal fusion surgeries. So with those, I was on painkillers, and that painkiller addiction stayed with me. Just running it around. So that painkiller addiction stayed with me. Before I talk pointlessly for no reason. All right, that painkiller addiction stayed with me. Through the bad relationship that I was in for 6 years, that my daughter was made out of. Trying to think. Oh, divorces, another large expenditure. Jesus Christ. So I'm going to erase the negative money here. So you got drugs, alcohol, gambling, scratch tickets, casino, drug and alcohol addiction. Then you have your spouse's drug and alcohol addiction. This can all be relatable to you, or if you have a significant other or children that are older and you're paying for their gambling addiction, getting them out of debt, paying for their alcohol or their drugs, as you frequently see on intervention, where the family member is nice and they're like, oh, sure, I'll give you money, give you money, give you money, give you money, give you money. So your children could be a part of this large expenditure system where your kids keep asking you for money and then you don't have any money. Or in my dad's case, homeless people, bums that don't work, that he's driving around. But divorce is another large expenditure. So when it creates marital discord in the beginning of your targeting, so your covert or overt intrapersonal relationship targeting typically ends in divorce. So one person or the other, like for example, like my brother's situation, he had a major business that was involved in his divorce. So his wife was there during the course of him building his business. Now my brother blames himself mostly for the divorce, which is bullshit, but it's up to him. So he's probably paying her every year a certain percentage of the profitability of that business, unless she cut a flat check and was like, I'll just be happy with this much money. And if I need anything, just give me some money if I need anything. If I'm falling short on something, can you help me out? I don't know how it worked, but he's divorced, and that took money from him. He had to pay her because she took care of the house while he was taking care of the business, raised his son, my nephew, and that's how divorces work. So now he's getting remarried. Yes. And remarried is what? A large expenditure. Wedding, lavish wedding, and all this dumb shit. And more kids. He had 2 more children with this newest wife that's coming up. So more kids is 18 plus years of expenditures. They are the biggest expenditure you'll ever have in your life because it runs on for 18 years minimum if you're not a deadbeat parent. So now you see this, he got a divorce, he's getting remarried. Money, 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 divorce, money, remarried, money, more kids, money, money. So you see here, 18 years of money. 18 years plus, because after that, when your kids go, hey, Dad, could I get some money? Oh, Dad, I'm a little short on cash. Can I get some cash? Oh, I'll give it back to you. You give them the money or you don't. So now let's recap here real quick. If you have a drug problem, the computer will give you a drug problem if you don't have one. Doesn't matter if it's, oh, that doesn't seem like so-and-so. They don't do drugs. That don't matter. The fuck? Every day somebody tries drugs for the first time. Alcohol. That doesn't seem like so-and-so. They don't drink alcohol. And the next thing you know, your playing around with drugs turns into a drug addiction, which is big time money. Like I said, being on painkillers for so long legally, you start to run out. You know, you're taking more, taking more, taking more. And then my work money wasn't enough. And the next thing you know, you're getting more money. The money my grandfather gave me, the $180,000. Oh, excuse me, not 1.8 million. 180,000 my grandfather gave me. I was getting checks from that, checks from that, checks from that. I was living the high life. So that all went by the wayside. I was gone. And then, so you have all of this here. The casino, I was down at the casino in my phase 1 of targeting. I was just sitting there because I had nothing better to do. The computer devoids you of a girlfriend or a boyfriend or whatever you're into. How many of you targets out there actually have a boyfriend, girlfriend, a husband, or a wife right now? How many of you have actually been out on a date? Watch my sexual desocialization video, and that's why you haven't been. So all of this stuff here, and then all of the ancillary things that of life that just go on out there, the bills, the electric bill, the car payment, the taxes, the everything, then becomes the reason why when you're being hit with the directed energy, you go, I'm okay. I'm just going to go to work, because all of these large expenditures have you going, oh my God, I got to get out of debt. That's right. All of this ends up with you in credit debt and financial problems. Because what do you first do when you can no longer afford your drugs, your alcohol, or your gambling? The divorce and all that stuff's upheld by lawyers, and you're not going to use a credit card to get out of your divorce debt. But all of this other stuff, potentially, and your bills, don't forget general bills. What are you going to do? You go right to the credit card, and you go, oh, it's just a credit card. It's only one credit card. So you take that credit card, and you may or may not have good credit. Let's say you have a $2,000, $3,000 credit limit. That's about average, $3,000 credit limit, right? So then swipe, cash advance, swipe, cash advance. And the next thing you know, you got cash advances, you got swipes, you have all this stuff, and you're fucking all fucked up with debt. So now if you're working, that's not enough to pay the debt, pay the bills, and continue to fucking do the gambling and all that stuff. So what do? When you start getting that mail that says, oh, we'll give you a credit card, and it's the Credit One credit card people with the predatory 30-something% interest rate, you take it and you go, oh, it's another $600, $700. So you take that credit card, you open that up. They know damn well you're not going to pay that shit. But you open it up and then you cash advance it or you swipe it to pay your bills. And now you're even in more debt. So you're debt plus. And the computer had you do all this shit. It kept telling you, pretending to put you into withdrawal. It can put withdrawal on you. Oh, I'm in withdrawal, I'm sick. You're not even sick, but the computer can make you sick, make you feel nauseated, make you sneeze, make you yawn, make you tired, make you restless. For opioid people and for all the other drugs, you can do it too. Alcohol. Well, alcohol, if you're an addict, like you're going to be fucked up. You're going to be fucking shaking and twitching and shit. And the gambling, it'll just go, hey, you're not doing anything, right? You just got paid today. Forget about paying your bills. Why don't you go down and fucking go down and scratch some tickets off and shit. So all of this is large expenditures. Now, that's all basic shit, Basic. That's very basic. My grandfather's $1 million. Let's get to that real quick. My large expenditures were just simply that. It was just buying pills all those years, being fucked up with the back and then being at the pain management place and then just continuing. Like I would go to pain management and then I would take all those pills in 2 weeks. And it got to be to a point where I just finally said, I don't want to do this anymore. Like I was ready to break down. I was ready to fucking start weeping and crying because I didn't want to do it anymore. I finally said, I've had enough of this shit. I don't want to do this anymore. I can't do this anymore. I'm tired of it. And I meant it. And I stopped. I finally said, I'm done with this shit. So what happened was I would go every 2 weeks. It would be 2 weeks cycles. So I would go, I would get hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of painkillers. I think like 260 methadone 10 milligram pills and 120 oxycodone 30s, plus 62 milligram Klonopins, which I never took. But that went on for years. And I mean years. I was on fentanyl, I was on Opana, I was on any painkiller you could imagine. And my girlfriend at the time, her aunt was on the same medication I was. She was on methadone 10 milligram for pain. And, her daughter would fucking run her out of her pills. And what we would do was we were 2 weeks apart for our refills. So what she would do is when she would get her refills, she would give me some 40, 50, 60 of them. And then I would pay her back because her pills wouldn't last her because she was having to feed her daughter's addiction. So she would give me some pills to help me out for the 2 weeks that I would be out. Then when I would get mine filled, I would give her what I owed her, and then I would give her some extra. And it kind of went back and forth like that for a long time. And it's one of the biggest regrets that I have is that, no matter who it is, there was a human there that we weren't human to each other. We had conversations. We were more interested in each other, I would say, for, being able to help each other out with the pills and stuff like that than we were looking at each other as just humans that are friends and treating each other like that. It was that's what you do when you're doing that type of stuff. So I have a lot of regret for all of that stuff and that I wasted my life in those years. But yeah, so she, that was what we would do because it would be 2 weeks and all of those pills would be gone. It was a bad time. I made the best of it that I could, but being an honest person that I am, that's exactly what it was. And then I got to a point where I was like, I can't do this anymore. I can't do it. I don't want to do it anymore. This is not fun. This is not a good time. I already know that in 2 weeks, I'm going to be in the bottle like this going, oh shit, if I just, oh, there's only 7 left. But if I take a half today and I take 1.5 tomorrow and I take a half the next day, no, I wasn't doing that no more. So I quit. Best decision of my life. And people would say, are you crazy? No, I'm not crazy. I was crazy for doing that shit for as long as I did. So again, computer probably had me wrapped up in that, and not telling myself to quit doing that shit a long time ago for everybody's benefit. All right. So now that's where most of my money went. Was I took a bunch of years where I just hung out with that $180,000 and just kind of just hung out. Worked at the tattoo shop my brother worked at, made $20 a day, hung out, popped pills, and just fucking sat around. I'm super disappointed with myself for those years, but I'm glad where I am today is the opposite of who I was yesterday. I really am. And I'm nothing but an honest person, man. Like, yeah, I really didn't have a lot of self-esteem. Really just got into a relationship with somebody that it was just a nightmare, a fucking true nightmare. Every minute of it was just fucked up. It was based on pills and addiction and just a fucking nightmare. That's all I'll leave it at. So now my grandpa's money, the $1 million, it's now $0. $1 million going in 20 to 30 years. Large expenditure extraordinaire. They got my dad in that car accident, and I think, he mortgaged the house for $120,000. This house. He just mortgaged it for $120,000, and he has cancer that he got diagnosed with shortly after mortgaging the house. So the computer radiated his neck and his throat and his lungs and had him puffing away on the smokes. So he got the cancer. I mean, it's just plausible. And then the $120,000 at 68 years old. So now you think he's going to be able to pay that back with fucking throat cancer? 68 years old. Prognosis is what, 5 years? They roughly say that you live after you catch the throat cancer. And my grandfather left the money in Pennsylvania Energy Company stocks. And I forget, a couple other things, but mainly the Pico stocks. So my dad just liquidated the rest of it to catch up with 3 months of the mortgage that he didn't pay. So it is now $0 of Grandpop's money left. $1 million gone. I should say 800,000 roughly. 700. We'll just go, to be generous to my dad, somehow, somewhere, $500,000 disappeared. I don't know where. I don't know how. I don't know to who. I know my grandfather didn't spend shit on this house. It was never upgraded or updated. So where $1 million goes is beyond me. I told you where my part of that money went. But the bottom line is you have to be aware that the computer will try to manipulate you into buying shit that you don't need, that has no value, has zero value. So you can't take that item after you purchase it and resell it and go, oh, I can make my money back. Most of the time, it's going to be bullshit purchases. So what I saw in that YouTube video, which was just be aware of large purchases. Be aware of large expenditures. The purchase can sometimes be an expenditure. So a recurring expenditure is getting a car. So then you have a gigantic monthly bill for this car that you didn't even need. You didn't need a new car. You could have got a used car and you could have paid it off. So the computer gets you to get a new car. So that way your expenditure is this big over a long period of time. So you're struggling. Most people struggle to pay their bills. So you got bills going like this. Boom. Bills, right? So what's a normal bill? You got car, you got rent, mortgage, rent/mortgage. You got utilities. Utilities. Sorry, my sloppy handwriting. I don't even know how old my dad was when he pissed away $120,000 for the cancer. Just remember, my dad just mortgaged the house, and he has giant cancer face. There's a hole in his neck. He's gonna have to sell the house, or it will get sold when he dies, because I'm not paying for it. I'm not gonna take on a fucking bill for a house that was already paid off and a computer successfully pissed away $1 million. This is how sophisticated this fucking system is. That's what I'm telling you. This thing locked onto the $1 million and was like, oh shit. There we go. That gives us something to do. It targets your finances. It goes positive money equals how can I make it negative money? It's not just physical deterioration of you and me. It's not just dumb shit like getting you into a car accident. It's all of it. Every single bit of it. It's suicide. It's cancer. It's heart deterioration. It's internal Jesus Christ. It's internal organ cancer. It's internal organ deterioration. That's what it does. When you're fucking trying to think like this and orate and talk, he'll start just fucking bombarding you with dumb shit so that way you don't have a fluid thought process. So it's, street theater. It's the lady in red. It's the people out there that they're manipulating to do or say things to you or with you to get you to react. So that way you put yourself in a bad predicament when you react to them negatively, and then people see that and don't know that you're a target that has a chatbot in your head. They don't know that they're being utilized and manipulated by a simulatory system that can jump into anybody at any time. Watch the Lady in Red street theater video that I made. These are all on individual videos. So you have car, rent, utilities, let's say groceries, gas, the list goes on and on and on. Clothes. It's not really a lot once you get your clothes, but you have all of this. Now, let's say you have a reasonable car. You don't have an extravagant car where it's like, oh, my dad gets the Jeep Cherokee when he just drives by himself. He ended up having to trade that bitch in after he put miles on it, devalued it, and he traded it in for the cheapest fucking car on the lot. It had Bondo on the roof because there was a rust hole in the roof of the car. So they bondoed the roof of the car, or some putty or something. Car putty, which is Bondo. It was the cheapest fucking car on the lot. He should have got that to begin with, like the Toyota Tacoma pickup truck he bought, which had 200 or 300,000 miles on it. So imagine it's a regular car payment, regular rent, mortgage payment, utilities, groceries, gas. What else? So you have all of this, and then imagine the computer comes along and goes, hey, why don't you add some drugs in there? Let me go get another thing. Why don't you add some drugs in there? Why don't you start doing some drugs? Why don't you go have an alcohol drink? Why don't you have some alcohol? Hey, go to the bar. Why don't you go to the bar tonight? Remember, you don't know this. It's beaming it into your fucking head. Especially if you're a covert. You don't know. You're not overt. You're covert. Imagine the majority of people out there, the simulation people in this simulation that they are doing, this is the simulation out there, are covert people that will never know that the car that they purchased, they didn't need or want. They didn't know that the place that they live in was above their means and was eventually going to be plus, plus. You start adding all this shit up. The utilities, the groceries, the gas, potentially drugs, alcohol, gambling. They make my dad sit down at 7-Eleven. If nobody knows what 7-Eleven is, it's a convenience store. In Pennsylvania, they put the Pennsylvania skill games in. People smack on those dumb fucking things, and they're slot machines, but they're getting rid of them, hopefully. So he sits down there. He has no money. He's in debt. He's faltering, and they have him sit down there at those dumb fucking skill games, doing jack shit but pissing away more money. So then when he needs the grandpop money, there's none left. He just took the last of it. And he goes, with the cancer. This is how fucking sick it is. He's a covert victim. He doesn't hear the chatbot. And even if he did, he wouldn't know what the fuck it was. That's why it's fucking sad. They made him get a car he couldn't afford because it was positive, negative money. Positive for the computer system, money, but negative for him. So he had to trade it in and get a shitty car that has a fucking hole in the muffler now. He can't afford to fix it. So positive, negative here is that it made him get into that car accident where he hit the motorcyclist, and then he had to pay supplemental money to her, which he shouldn't have had to do. So he now has positive rent/mortgage, and that's positive for the computer system, but it's overall negative for his bank account. He can't afford it. And the utilities, it's another thing. We had a geothermal heating system put in years ago. My grandfather, the one thing he spent money on, went from oil to geothermal. The guy who put the system in put the wrong system in. He put a system in that was straight copper piping. This water destroyed the piping and it leaked out the Freon in only like 15 years. So the entire system needs to be replaced. My dad can't afford that. So what happened was when he got the cancer, like I showed you, he had to get life flighted down to University of Pennsylvania Hospital. They had to life flight him down there. He couldn't breathe. The tumor in his neck was so big in his throat. So what happened was it was on the emergency heat because the kid was like, oh, yo, the only way you're going to have heat is if you put the emergency heat on. So it was left on the emergency heat. And I noticed it. I'm like, this is odd. I open up the electric bill. It's $1,000+ because it's on emergency heat. So I turn off the emergency heat, but he had 2 or 3 months where I didn't see the electric bill. $1,000 every month because this fucking system is not working. There's no air conditioning. System don't work. So you take $1,000, you take the rent mortgage, which is like $1,800 or $1,600. It's no car payment now because he was smart enough to get rid of that fucking Jeep Cherokee. Groceries, gas. He doesn't do drugs, doesn't drink alcohol, never did, but he gambles. He goes down to the 7-Eleven to go piss his money away on those Pennsylvania skill games. There's no more grandpop money left. $1 million going in 20 to 30 years. He's a covert target. He does not know what the computer is telling him to do that he would not have normally done. So I've told him what is going on repetitively. But what you can't do is you can't stop the computer from beaming into their heads what to do and controlling them as covert targets to be manipulated and utilized to manifest the computer's protocols. So unfortunately, the car accident, it's all a timeline of events. The car accident leads to the mortgage. The mortgage leads to negative. The car purchasing of the Jeep Cherokee was a computer-generated thing. That leads to negative money. So the purchasing of the Aunt Lena car, $25,000, leads to negative money. He didn't need that car. He didn't use the car. It was bullshit. So the purchase of the Chevelle Super Sport leads to negative money. What it is positive covert computer behavior for the system to have positive outcome no matter what. So the Chevelle Super Sport car, even when I ask him now, I go, Dad, do you even know why you purchased that car? And he actually, for a change, interacted with me normally and said, no, I don't. I have no idea why I purchased that car. He has no idea why he purchased the car. And I said, that's okay. I'm not mad at you. I'm not mad at you for any of this. It is not your fault. You're a covert victim of a simulation system that locked onto our family in a negative way to waste our money, to give us bodily dysfunction, to harm us physically, and to ensure that between me, you, and Grandpop, at least in this house, that our lives do not last as long as they could or should have. And that's it. There's no more Grandpop money. It's gone as of a couple of days ago. He will then continue to be negative with his bills. So what happened was, after you go negative, 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 with the gambling, you only have so much money per month. He's a retiree who retired early for no reason. The computer made him retire early so that way he couldn't collect full Social Security. So it manipulated his money again. So what happens is you only have X amount of dollars. So let's use purple here. So what happens is you only have X amount of money, right? This is easy math. You have X amount of money, but you need Y. So X equals your bills or whatever your monthly shit is. Bills plus. So then you know how much that is. Y equals your previously determined flat amount of money you get because you're a retiree, fixed income. Thank you, computer. So you would say one of the primary objectives for the computer is to figure out how to make X more than Y. So X is greater than Y. And that's all the computer has to do. X is greater than Y. And that's how it gets you into the negative money. And then you're done. Then you're in credit debt. You can't get out of credit debt, so you go to the creditors. You go Mariner Finance, whatever finance companies. My dad's Perpetual Finance Company, dude. Then you go negative money equals finance / credit debt. So bills is X, Y is your fixed income for the month. Then you go X is greater than Y once the computer manipulates everything and screws your whole fucking life up with car accidents and dumb shit, medical problems, cancer, deterioration. So then you're negative money because this is what it is. And then you go, oh, I'm going to reach out to the finance companies. They'll consolidate my debt. They'll get me back on track. I'll get it back together. It's like the pill bottle. That's the analogy. This is like the drug addict with the pill bottle after they get it and they take too many. And you go, holy shit. But if I take 2 today and I take 3 tomorrow and I take a half the next day and I'm really careful and I only take 1 the next day, I can make it 2 more weeks. But you never make it 2 more weeks. You're always running out. You're always running out. And that's all it is, the large expenditures. I'm going to call up the finance company. That's the next move. You don't have any more money in the bank. You can't borrow any more from the family, so you don't have to pay interest to them. I'll pay you back. I'll pay you back. I'll pay you back. The grandpa money's gone now. What do? You go to the finance companies that you just paid off with the money that you just got from the grandpa money. But then you reopen the finance account to consolidate. Oh, they're going to give me a better rate. Oh, I'm only going to have to pay a little less than what I'm paying now. The credit companies, that's what you consolidated with the finance companies, because the credit card gets used first. And it never works. You're always negative in the end. Because in his case, he's 69 years old with cancer. And he's negative in excess of $100,000 leaned on this house. I don't do drugs no more. I don't drink alcohol. I should say it was opioids. I had pain medication prescriptions. My shit was always legit. Like I always had the doctor, for the back. But I haven't drank. I think alcohol is disgusting. I fucking hate it. It's gross. I don't drink alcohol. I don't do drugs. I don't do nothing but work and try my best at life. And now life is all fucked up because my dad's probably not going to live more than a couple of years. He has this giant debt that would never have been paid anyway because he didn't live a healthy life to begin with. And he still doesn't. So now, I don't know what the fuck's going on. I want to buy a property up north near New York and just go live in the woods and build a house up there and get away from this shit. I'm not mad at my dad. I don't want to yell at him, which is what it typically tries to get you to do, to yell at the person. It typically tries to get you to yell at the person, to go, are you stupid? Are you fucking dumb? Why the fuck are you doing this? And if you're an overt person, if you're overtly targeted, meaning you hear the chat bot, you know about this, you're watching this video, then you alone have the ability to not yell and scream at these people who are being fucking put to death just as well as you are. My dad, I told him for years, I said, dude, you are being radiated to fucking death. Your eyes are blood red. His eyes. Fucking bloodshot, like you wouldn't believe. The bottom part of his eye, which is where most of your irritation goes, completely red and solid bloodshot, almost solid blood. And I told him, I'm like, dude, you're getting fucking mangled, dude. You are being radiated to death. And he wouldn't let me record him. He still won't let me record him. If I try to record him and say, let me record your eyes and shit, and let me please at least get that, nope, he will not. He'll go, he can't talk now because they took his vocal cords with the cancer. But he'll wave his hand at me and push me away. That's not happening. That's not happening. And my grandfather, he got hit. My grandfather got blinded in his left eye. I'll leave you with that. This is how you know it's everybody. My grandfather was born in 1919. This is off topic. My grandpa, this is how you know it is everybody. And you're living in a simulation where everybody has the potential to be controlled and utilized for street theater or radiated themselves and are covert simulants until they're an overt target. So they're covertly recording everybody through their neurology until they want to go ahead overtly and target you and kill you. Or covertly kill you too with the walk to death shit and cancer and all that crap. My grandpa had his left eye blinded. He couldn't see. He was sitting on his hospital bed in there. He was on hospice. He was in his early 90s. He lived to 99, by the way. 99 years old. 99. So, let me put this shit around. He lived to be 99. And I'm going to make another video about this stuff. So my grandfather lived to be 99 years old. He had his left eye blinded. What happened was he was rubbing his eye. I'm like, that's weird. Why the fuck does he keep rubbing his eye like that? And I started thinking, I'm like, oh my God, are they fucking sending that energy to his eye? Because I knew from my eyes getting radiated that they get dried out and sore, and you rub them and they're real itchy and dry. That's what happened. I went to feed him one day and I would slide his food